lords of Tiamura once ruled these waters, and to the dragons of the island they sacrificed their daughters. Prince Nehru now lived in the Wormlord's palace, but I did not fear his pirates. I had come for the Book of the Prophets, stolen by a traitor from my sanctum. As we rowed to the shores of the island, I swore to reclaim what was rightfully mine. Nehru's boat skimmed across the sea, an osprey gliding over waves. As I marveled at the magic that held our boat aloft, Sangharul whispered a dire warning. Only the unseen, the mysterious gods of the Munari, could have contrived such a vessel. We spied the shores of Halasar by the light of the rising sun and parted ways at the palace. For Nehru's help, I owed him a prisoner, though I'd have to catch him first. Lahara walked the desert of 30 suns, and in a stone she trapped them, all but one. In the sand she sowed the seed from which the tree of Ela grew. Aosi is the wind that blows through its branches. With blood, sand, and a branch of the tree, Lahara made the firstborn. Halasar is the kingdom where they dwelled, and so we are their children. With our eyes we see the wind that sings through Ela's branches. The wind grew fierce, a storm rose up and broke the tree of Ela. Lahara wept as the long night fell and darkness devoured her children. How to heal the broken tree? How to mend the branches? Lahara sailed from Halasar to dream the silent mystery. In the 9th century of the 9th age, a child of the Mark is born. Lahara, queen and savior. Halasar shall rise from the tomb of the righteous, for she is the goddess reborn. So it is written in the Book of the Prophets. Halasar shall rise from the tomb of the righteous, the sepulchre of Guthrum, first emperor of Galdir. There we decimated the Medivan army. Their leader Crobulus lay trapped inside with his temple guards. We learned the Hierophant was planning a ritual, a desecration of the holy tomb. Though I had an army at my command, I swore I'd stop him myself. Sangharul and Torgus were at my side. We could find no trace of Crobulus, though his crusade against Halasar was over. The armies of Urath returned to their distant realm, and our kingdom was at peace once again. But as days passed, and I thought upon the words Crobulus said, the desire to find him became my obsession. If he did not serve Urath, then who was his master? And what secret did he possess about my prophecy? Over 50 years ago, Imabeth IX built the prison of Indubar. In the chambers of this abattoir, thousands died for the pleasure of their king. Targan III deposed his cousin and restored mercy to Galdir. Under the reign of Azraman, only those who most deserved his wrath were doomed to Indubar. For defiling an emperor's tomb, Crobulus held the place of honor. The Munari were an aquatic race, born in the depths of the sea. Beneath their city dwelled the unseen, and all lived in terror of them. We began our search at the house of Masroldo. His ships ran the Galderan blockade years ago and helped us win our freedom. If Morbazan still lived in Munari City, Masroldo would know where to find him. At first, I see nothing, only ripples on the water's surface. Then a vision takes form. I see strange faces and a great tower. And then, a river of light, flowing through a desolate valley. The world is breaking apart. I hear a voice. Your friends will be safe, it says, but you must go on alone. For days we wandered a wasteland of ice, a realm so remote it had no name. In a tumult of wind and snow, we sat down near a cave. Morbazan said that here we'd find a piece of the tree Lahara grew in the desert of 30 suns. I formed a small party to scout ahead and secure the cave. Only then would I send for the others. I sent for the others waiting on the ship, and we crossed the threshold together. I can't explain what happened next. I fell as if through a vortex, spinning through boundless space. When I opened my eyes, the caverns had vanished, and so had my friends. Crobolus and I were alone. The air surged with a wild energy, alive and horrifying. We had entered a place we were never meant to be. The Munari proverb had proven true. Nothing happens that is not the will of the unseen. Far from the city of masks, their siege tower lay in a wasteland where jungles and rivers once thrived. Our only path led across the bridge of the mud golems. These golems were strange and hostile people who drew strength from the swamp in which they dwelled. The warlord Sharangir held the Tower of the Ancient Ones. First we had to get inside, and that was Sangaril's job. To insert 2 gems that opened the main door, she'd have to scale the side of the tower. Meanwhile, Iari would disrupt the tower's energy nodes. A cavern nearby offered a clear shot at the targets. Once the door was open, 3 of us would go in. Our task was simple: find and destroy Sharangir. The River of Light flowed to Kargathalon on the far side of a valley. Iari and the siege tower now moved with a singular purpose, but 3 chasms blocked our path. A series of spinning bridges could not be crossed unless we seized the towers that controlled them. To that end, we'd work together in pairs. But once across the final chasm, Iari would face Kargathalon alone. For nearly 200 years, the Tamarath kings ruled Galdir. We had come to save Azraman, my sworn enemy and the brother of my friend. Galdir had fallen under the dark power of Crobolus, corrupted by the evil that dwelled within him. But where was the Tempest? Where was the destroyer of Ela? Oddly enough, it was Mad King Imarbeth who held the key. In the sepulchre of Guthrum I, I would fulfill my prophecy and become a god. Or I would die here, along with the dream of Halasar. But no matter the course of destiny, Queen Maya would exist no longer. I hurled myself into an abyss where she would be lost forever, in death or in divinity. And yet, I could not turn back now. This life I had to live was never my own. From my birth, I belonged to Halasar and its prophecy. I would play the role fate had chosen for me. Now the last of his kind, Malbazan returned to the home of his people. Iago sailed back to Medova. The search for his daughter was over. Prince Nehru buried Krobulus and the names of his past, then set out once again to seek his fortune. Sangarul and Torgus consoled each other in the grief they shared, for Queen Maya was no more. Aosi is the wind that blows through its branches.
Oh, I hate endings. I mean, it's not official. It's fake. Life goes on. Like a lot of endings you see in video games. They stink.
Before you judge anybody, look at yourself in the mirror. I mean, honestly, look. That's what you've got to deal with first.
So now we're all in this paradise or whatever, and I'm so happy for her. But there comes a time when you have to fulfill your own needs.
Well, if there's a sequel, I honestly don't know if I'm going to do it.
Now that Iari's turned into a tree, I'm pretty much on my own.
For as long as I've known her, I've treated Sangarul very poorly. I said many things that I now regret. And a lot of it had to do with my own issues.
There's work piling up, but I'm not feeling all that motivated. To be honest with you, I'm a little depressed.
Now, back in the day, I was possessed by the demon of darkness. He was a class act. He knew how to have a good time and enjoy himself.
Krobulus was dead, and for a long time, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Maya was all about Maya, and I enabled her. I enabled that behavior.
I mean, you waste years of your life thinking about revenge, and then it's all over. And you're like, well, what's the big deal? I mean, what was I so worked up about?
My relationship with Torgus is a perfect example. That bitch was tearing us apart.
I miss Iari. They say you get used to it, but you don't. It's lonely. It's very, very lonely.
Well, I've done my time. I've done my time. I got screwed in the first one, and I got screwed in this one. So they can just all go to hell.
I'm back on Tiomora now. We'll be opening a resort here. It's a beautiful beach. People love the dragons. We're going to have dinner theatre, some sailboats. It's going to be really nice. You should come by.
I never played Summoner, but I did play Red Faction. And my favorite part in that game is the moment where Hendrix and Parker meet face to face for the very first time.
My last job was in automotive. We sold discount parts for German and Japanese manufacturers.
I used to be a freelance designer of elevator restrictor systems.
I needed a change. I needed to pursue my dreams.
I think that moment spoke to me because our relationships are mediated and digitized through cell phones and email and internet. There's no intimacy, there's no connection.
The Sumner guys did this comedy routine where they were playing a fantasy role-playing game. It really cracked a lot of people up.
Now, you might not be familiar with restrictors because they work only when there's an emergency.
Yes, I was supposed to play the role of Dr. Capek in the original Red Faction, but the gentleman playing Iago suffered a cerebral aneurysm and needed surgery. So I ended up on Summoner instead.
An elevator restrictor keeps people inside the elevator when it breaks down, so they don't open the door, fall out, and die.
So, when I got hired to play the part of Morbazan, I was thrilled. You know, like it was my turn to make people laugh now. But it didn't happen.
The man made a full recovery, by the way. God bless him, but now I'm stuck in this dead-end role.
So I got on the bus, went out to Illinois, and knocked on the door of Volition Incorporated and said, "Here I am."
They were like, well, if we can't be funny like the first one, we're not even going to try.
In Red Faction, there's this real sense of communion, and I don't think video games do that often enough.
Now, Brian Farrell, he's the head honcho over there at THQ. He promised me a good part in Red Faction 2.
The first lesson, I learned in my own recovery is that you don't give up. You take it one day at a time, and you don't give up.
A villain with a bazooka and some sharp knives. Yes, we'll see. I'm not holding my breath.
Now, don't get me wrong, elevators are very safe, but you want to have systems in place that will keep people from getting hurt.
I paid my dues. I plunged toilets and washed dishes and made coffee. Because these people are basically mama's boys who can't do a bloody thing for themselves.
I can only hope that Summoner 2 will speak to people in the same way.
As foretold in the prophecy, a goddess is reborn, a warrior queen and savior who must face her destiny.
Bloody pirates.
Summoner 2. In developing the sequel to one of the top-selling role-playing adventure titles for the PlayStation 2, THQ and Volition reconsidered virtually every aspect of the game, determined to create an experience that far surpassed Summoner 1.
Basically, when we started working on Summoner 2, we said, all right, what elements did we like from Summoner 1? And we kept all of those and then decided to just transform and change everything else for Summoner 2. We have done some under-the-hood improvements that sort of take more advantage of the power of the PlayStation 2.
Using the PS2 platform to maximum effect allowed the developers to make tremendous improvements for Summoner 2, such as 30 wildly imaginative 3D locales, real-time action with an all-new party-driven combat system, and at the center, an immersive character-driven story.
I am Maya, Queen of Halasar.
Summer 2 takes place in the Kingdom of Halasar, and the main character, the character that you play, is Maya. She's the Queen of Halasar. She has a prophecy to fulfill. Her big problem, her big conflict is that she doesn't know at the beginning of the game how to go about fulfilling this prophecy.
Will you come with me?
Maya is joined on her quest by a group of customizable characters, which include Sangoril, a trained assassin and Maya's ally, Torgus, Maya's mentor and trusted advisor, Prince Neru, a pirate king with a mysterious past, Iari, an automaton with magical energy weapons, and Morbazan, a massive spellcaster with the power to devour souls.
We have 7 different characters, and each of them can be developed in a multitude of different ways. Maya herself is very versatile. She can be a spellcaster, a healer, a melee fighter, or whatever you want her to be.
Each of these characters is brought to life by a team of designers, artists, and animators.
First, you've got the concept guys who have to actually come up with a visual representation of something that everybody's just kind of been talking about. Then the character guys take the 2D concept drawings that we have and then flesh those ideas out so that they look correct from all 3 angles that you'd see them in the game. And then the animators are the guys that really make them, they add that final touch to the game that makes them look realistic and compelling to the player.
From the Palace of Halasar to Munari City, the level designers create the 3D world in which the characters and the player will live.
I think fantasy, as far as creating a game world, does offer a lot of opportunities. Whatever you see in the game, you can walk up to and you can explore and you can interact with it. We've given the player an environment that they can almost live in.
Combining superlative storytelling with real-time action, Summoner 2 promises to take role-playing adventure games to the next level.